My wife and I encountered an accident on the road to divorce and were both reincarnated back to the day we first fell in love. 10 years ago, in our previous life, we had been married for 6 years, but she despised me for being unsuccessful and constantly picked fights with me. During one of our arguments, I found out that her first love was now the richest man in the city. Comparing myself to him, all she felt for me was disdain and disgust. After being reincarnated, I allowed her to choose the life she wanted. 10 years later, she had achieved her dream of becoming the wife of the richest man, and at a university anniversary celebration, she proudly donated alongside her wealthy husband. Meanwhile, to everyone else, I was still just a lowly government worker. She leaned gracefully against that man's embrace, looking down on me. 10 years without seeing you, and you're still so unambitious. I'm glad I made the right choice this time and cut my losses early, until my special agent wife hooked her arm through mine, and when she saw it, she suddenly slammed the wine glass down. Chapter 1. At the university centenary celebration, Luciana and I met again. Now, she had finally married her first love, sitting proudly in the role of the first lady of the city's richest man, enjoying all the spotlight. As I walked into the hall, I saw Luciana and her husband, James Jean, standing in the middle of the crowd, basking in the compliments. CEO James really is a young prodigy. With his sharp insight and ability to seize the market, the position of the richest man in the city really belongs to him. I heard CEO James is here to donate to our university's lab. It must be tens of millions, right? All of this is because of Luciana. It's thanks to her graduating from this school that James is making such a large donation. You two really have such a great relationship. We're all envious. Luciana waved her hand with a smile. Please don't flatter me. Since my husband has the ability, it's only right for him to support education. It's not because of me. Seeing Luciana enjoy all these flattering words, the crowd started to praise her even more eagerly. Who doesn't know that you two went from being high school sweethearts to getting married? We all envy this love. Yeah, I heard you two got together in high school. That's been over 10 years now, right? By the way, Luciana, you still look so young after all these years. Like a girl in her 20s. You really are the perfect match with James. At that moment, a curious voice from the crowd asked, by the way, Luciana, do you still keep in touch with Romeo? I heard he went to take the civil service exam after graduation. I wonder if he passed. I used to see you two together often in college. I thought you might end up together. I wonder if he'll show up today. At the mention of my name, James's face stiffened, seemingly displeased. Luciana gently patted his hand to soothe him and then explained gracefully, Romeo, you've almost made me forget that name. When my husband and I had long-distance relationship issues, he did chase after me for a while. But my love for my husband is real. It's not something anyone can just meddle with. Upon hearing Luciana's words, the crowd fell silent, quickly changing the topic. Just then, someone spotted me. Speaking of Romeo, isn't that him? Didn't expect you to actually show up. The moment James saw me, his face darkened. You're Romeo. Luciana gave me a once-over, her disdain clear in her eyes. Still a little civil servant. On such a grand occasion, you show up dressed in casual clothes. I looked up and finally saw the two of them clearly in the crowd. Luciana was wearing an exclusive luxury dress, her hair loosely tied up, and her diamond earrings sparkling brightly, swaying with her every move, exuding elegance and charm. James, standing beside her, was in a well-tailored suit, with a luxury watch peeking from his wrist, exuding wealth. Together, they looked like a perfect power couple. I smiled and said politely, yes, I'm still a civil servant, not as wealthy and impressive as you. My rank was not low, but it was still accurate to say I was a government worker. After years of working in the industry, everyone could tell that James and Luciana were clearly unhappy about my appearance. One was the city's richest man, and the other was just a small civil servant. It was clear who they preferred to curry favor with. It's been so many years, Romeo, and you're still like this. How pitiful. I heard government workers only make a few thousand a month. I bet your salary doesn't even cover one of James's meals. Good thing Luciana didn't end up with you. Look at you, in those clothes. You're not fit for this kind of occasion. My casual clothes were from an ordinary brand. After all, comfort was what mattered when it came to clothing. I smiled without being angered by their words. After all, at my current rank, even James didn't matter in front of me. These sycophants were nothing. I wasn't meant to be with Miss Luciana. It's for the best that we didn't end up together. Chapter 2. Hearing my words, Luciana's face flushed with embarrassment, and she couldn't maintain her composure anymore. Romeo, look at you. You're still the same useless coward as before. For me, it's a good thing we didn't end up together. After all, you're just a lousy civil servant, earning a few thousand a month, struggling to make ends meet. But you, look at yourself in the mirror with that beggar-like appearance. How could any woman possibly like you? Looking at the anger and venom in Luciana's twisted expression, I couldn't help but recall the countless arguments from my previous life. In our past life, Luciana and I met and fell in love during university, and after graduation, we naturally got married. Our life was actually quite good. In this not-so-small city, we had our own house and a decent car. Without children at the time, our life was fulfilling and rich with meaning. But not long after, everything changed. After a class reunion, Luciana started acting differently. She began picking fights with me, throwing tantrums whenever things didn't go her way, criticizing me for being unsuccessful, not making enough money, and not being able to give her the life she wanted. At the same time, the expensive bags and luxury goods at home kept piling up, and I began to realize something was off. One day, Luciana didn't come home all night, and when she returned, her neck was covered with marks from passion. That's when the most intense argument between us exploded. It was that day that I found out Luciana had had a boyfriend in high school, and they broke up because of long distance during university. At the last class reunion, she found out her first love had seized the opportunity with AI and became the richest man in the city, becoming the focus of the reunion. She regretted it, regretted breaking up with her first love and marrying me. Luciana threw her newly purchased handbag at my head. Romeo, I must have been blind to marry you. So what if I cheated? Don't I have the right to choose a better life? Look at this bag. Do you know how much it costs? You, with your pathetic government job, will never be able to afford this in your life. The argument happened during the spring festival, with firecrackers booming outside as families were reunited, and my wife, with certainty, told me that she had cheated. After that argument, we agreed that once the Civil Affairs Office reopened after the holidays, we'd divorce. But on the way to the divorce, we argued again. Luciana was so emotional that she even grabbed the steering wheel. The car lost control, and we both died on the spot. When I opened my eyes again, we had both been reincarnated 10 years into the past, back to the day we decided to be together. This time, I chose to let her go. After parting ways, she quickly got back together with James, while I continued the path I had taken in my previous life, going to university and preparing for the civil service exam. The biggest difference between this life and the last was that I was no longer the lowest-ranking government worker. In this life, I had 10 extra years of life experience and 10 extra years of perspective. After passing the civil service exam, I continually proposed targeted suggestions at work and made several proposals that contributed to the development of the city. In a short time, I was transferred to the capital to contribute to its development. Not only that, but I also met my current wife at work. After marrying her, I found out she was the only daughter of a high-ranking official in the capital. I was attending this alumni event today because the principal personally invited my father-in-law. My wife wanted to visit the university I attended, so we came together. Now, my wife is with my father-in-law to meet the principal, while I came to the hall alone. Meeting Luciana and James was not part of my plan, but since we met, the person who did wrong is not me, and the one who should be avoiding confrontation shouldn't be me. Chapter 3. Seeing that I didn't respond for a long time, the crowd around us couldn't help but sneer. You're not saying anything. Could it be that Luciana hit the nail on the head? Almost 30 years old and still single. Yeah, with a few thousand a month. How could you afford to get a girlfriend or get married? Who would look at you? Romeo, I heard your job is 9 to 5. Why don't you try setting up a street stall at night? We're all classmates. We could come support you. I couldn't be bothered to respond to them anymore, so I just smiled and politely declined their offer. I'm already married, and my current job is going well, so no need to trouble yourselves. When Luciana heard that, her expression changed. You're married? When did that happen? Why didn't you tell me? I looked at Luciana in confusion. What does my marriage have to do with her? After being reincarnated, we had both deleted each other's contact information, going our separate ways. Not to mention, I got married in the capital, and only invited close relatives in the city for a small gathering. There was no formal wedding. Seeing the confusion on my face, Luciana seemed to realize she'd misspoken, and awkwardly laughed it off. We're all old classmates. A big event like your marriage, you should have invited us to celebrate with you. Or are you saying, you didn't actually get married? Are you just trying to save face? Hearing Luciana's words, everyone laughed again. Yeah, this city is so small, and we didn't hear a thing about your marriage. You're probably just bluffing. Come on, Romeo. Being single isn't shameful. It's lying that's shameful. Stop pretending and save yourself the embarrassment. We all know each other. James, who had been watching the drama from the side, finally spoke up. Looking down at me from his lofty position. Why don't you come work at my company? We're booming right now. With government support, the future is looking bright. Since you and Luciana are old classmates, how about you come work as my driver? The salary may not be high, but it's definitely better than being a civil servant. What do you think? James was dressed in a high-end tailored suit, but the smell of money in his words was nauseating. His behavior screamed nouveau riche. And as for the so-called classmates around us, each of them dressed in a pretentious manner, constantly belittling civil servants, who gave them that confidence. If it weren't for the civil servants diligently working every day to maintain social order and function, would you all have the good lives you have now? Also, Mr. James, you're the CEO of a booming AI company, but as I understand it, the company was founded and is still run by your father. Isn't your father probably out there meeting with some officials right now? You talk about your company having government support, yet you're bashing civil servants as inferior. What gives you the right? My words were firm and resolute, and for a moment, the crowd fell silent. James's face turned pale with a mix of anger and disbelief, clearly not expecting me to refuse to give him face. I shot him a cold glance. I had met plenty of entrepreneurs in the capital who actually contributed to society, but not a single one was like James, riding the wave of the times while still being so dismissive. The others may have been eager to flatter him, but in my eyes, he didn't even come close to deserving that level of respect. Seeing that no one dared to speak anymore, James grew frustrated. What are you so proud of? A lowlife like you. What do you have to compare with the big shots you talk about? Besides, so what if the company is my dad's? I'm his son. In the future, it will all be mine. What are you? Just a clown trying to put on a show. Chapter 4. Seeing James getting angry, a few classmates eager to cling to him quickly joined in. Yeah, Romeo. Stop spouting those high-sounding principles. The people you're talking about. What does it have to do with you? I can't stand people like you, always lecturing, with a daddy's boy attitude. James, our CEO, is kind enough to offer you a job, and instead of being grateful, you're here trying to be tough. Do you think he can't make sure you can't survive in this city tomorrow? I couldn't help but laugh at their words. Well, let's see then. Let's see if he can really make sure I can't survive here. I'm not worried about him. Not even the top companies in the capital would dare to talk to me like this. After saying that, I ignored them and made my way to the break area. Sitting down by myself, a few of them spat at my back as I walked away. Ugh, Romeo really has thick skin, not even leaving after all this. Such a shameless dog, biting the hand that feeds him. James, the CEO, actually considered him to be a driver, but if it weren't for James, he'd never even get to touch a luxury car in his life. Disgusting. He should just leave and stop ruining the vibe. How could he leave? Our university is prestigious, and on such an important occasion as the centennial celebration, there must be a lot of prominent figures and politicians attending. A guy like him. I've seen people like him before. He's probably trying to hitch a ride with someone powerful. I was already planning to leave, but my wife had asked me to wait here, saying she wanted to say hello to my classmates. She should be arriving soon. James, hearing the flattery from the others, seemed to find a place to show off again. Indeed, we have a lot of distinguished guests today. I heard they even invited a high-ranking official from the capital. My father's with the principal right now, giving the official a tour of the campus. Upon hearing this, the classmates were envious. Oh my God, the CEO actually gets to meet such an important official. That's the kind of person you only see on the news. I heard the official even has an only daughter. I wonder if she's here today. She's supposedly the capital's one and only female special envoy, with a bright future ahead. Such a pity. She's already married. Her husband's a great match for her. I heard he's a top-tier special envoy in the capital. This family, if they stomp their foot, the whole capital might shake. Although James seemed pleased with all the compliments, he pretended to brush it off casually. Ah, it's nothing. Anyway, our company will be holding a donation ceremony in this hall later. The big leader will be there, and I'll introduce you to them so you can get some face time. As James spoke, he glanced in my direction. That's the difference between people. Some are young and already have the favor of top leaders, becoming the youngest special envoy in the whole capital, and some people, born with a lowly fate, can only be bottom-tier civil servants their entire life. Who knows where they get the nerve to be proud of themselves? Just then, a beautiful and tall figure appeared at the door of the hall, and everyone's gaze was instantly drawn to her. My God, this presence is overwhelming. Who is this? Doesn't look like one of our classmates. Could it be the female special envoy from the capital? No one told me she was so beautiful, and she looks like she's not even wearing makeup. Oh my God, if it's really her, I'll just give up. Great family background, married well, looks amazing, and super capable. She's got it all. In the entire hall, only I remained calm, quietly watching the woman as she made her way towards me. Many people in the crowd seemed eager to approach her, but to everyone's surprise, she ignored them completely and walked straight to me in the break area. Her cold expression melted away instantly as she flashed me a wide, warm smile. Hubby, I missed you. Chapter 5. As Alice spoke, she linked her arm with mine and leaned in to whisper in my ear. This hall is really hard to find. Dad and the others are still at the back. I just missed you so much, so I came here first. The classmates exchanged glances, seemingly unable to believe what they were seeing. What? Romeo really wasn't lying. He's married, and his wife is actually a special envoy from the capital. Seeing everyone's attention focused on us, Alice winked at me. Hubby, these are your classmates, right? Aren't you going to introduce me? Although I felt there was no real need to socialize with these people, since Alice had said it, I could only smile and address the crowd. Everyone, this is my wife, Alice, also known as the special envoy from the capital. As soon as I finished speaking, the hall erupted in shock. She really is a special envoy. Then Romeo is the son-in-law of a top leader from the capital, isn't he? Oh my God, did I just say something to offend him? At this point, someone whispered, if that's the case, James, the nouveau riche, is nothing in comparison. If Romeo really gets angry, he could bankrupt his company tomorrow. The classmates who had mocked me earlier all turned pale, clearly worried that I might take out my anger on them for what happened earlier. Luciana, looking furious, stepped forward, but before she could say anything, Alice already extended her hand to her. Hello, you must be Luciana. I know about you. I heard you almost ended up with Romeo, so I should thank you. Thank you for being so short-sighted and leaving this capable, wonderful man to me. Alice's smile was wide, but her words had a sarcastic bite. I glanced at the woman beside me, unable to hold back a smile. I had to admit, her jealous side was quite cute. Luciana completely ignored Alice's outstretched hand, instead glaring at me with rage. Romeo, where did you find this actress? Don't think I'll believe this. Alice withdrew her hand, her brow furrowing as she glanced at me. Hubby, is there something wrong with your classmate? Luciana slapped Alice's hand away, and her tone was on the verge of breaking down. Say something, Romeo. Answer me. I stepped in front of Alice protectively, coldly looking at the hysterical Luciana. I've already made it clear. Alice is my wife. We've been married for 3 years. Show some respect. Luciana opened her mouth to argue, but it was James, who had been silent until now, who stood up. He shot Luciana an irritated glance, then turned to scrutinize me for a long moment. Luciana just can't accept that you're fooling her with an actress. If I'm not mistaken, this person behind you is the actress you hired, right? My father is currently with the big leader, and as the leader's daughter, Miss Chu should be accompanying him. How could she suddenly show up here? Alice had whispered to me earlier about coming here because she missed me, so of course, they didn't hear that. James sneered, clearly feeling smug for having figured it out. Do you realize what a crime it is to impersonate a special envoy from the capital? You've got a lot of guts. And the woman behind you, with her looks, how could she possibly be interested in you? You must be using her as a scapegoat, right? Before I could respond, a loud voice rang out from the door. I'll just have to see. My daughter, Lucas Wren, doesn't need any scapegoat. Chapter 6. Under the gaze of the crowd, a group of security guards escorted an elderly man into the hall, with the principal and other leaders following behind him. Alice and I immediately stepped forward, one on each side, and helped the elderly man with his arm. The old man nodded at me, then turned to scan the crowd, his gaze finally settling on James, who looked pale with fear. So, you're the one who said my son-in-law is a scapegoat. Come on, I'm Lucas, standing right here. Tell me to my face, what has my daughter done that's so shameful that she needs someone to take the fall? The old man had been in the capital for so long that simply standing there, he exuded the commanding presence of someone in power. James hesitated, his lips trembling. Though still unwilling to accept, he finally muttered, Sorry, Mr. Wren. I was blind and didn't recognize your esteemed daughter. Please forgive my words. The old man snorted coldly and shifted his gaze away. I knew exactly what he meant. You should be apologizing, not to Mr. Wren, but to my wife, Alice Wren. The classmates held their breath, not daring to make a sound for fear of attracting trouble. James, usually so high and mighty, had never experienced this kind of pressure. Under the watchful eyes of so many, he ground his teeth and barely managed to squeeze out a few words. Romeo, don't push your luck. I couldn't help but laugh at James's words. You're the one who's always speaking rudely to me, always looking down on public servants, and insulting my wife. Now, I'm just asking you to take responsibility for your own actions. Tell me, where have I gone too far? Suddenly, a plump figure emerged from the crowd and slapped James hard on the back of the head. You ungrateful brat, what do you think you're doing? This is Mr. Wren, a respected figure in the capital. Do you know how much effort we've put into getting him here? If it weren't for the centennial anniversary celebration, Mr. Wren wouldn't even step foot in a small place like ours, and you've offended his daughter and son-in-law. Do you know how many years of economic development our city could gain with one word from Mr. Wren? You want to die? Don't drag me down with you. After scolding James, the middle-aged man turned to me with a guilty expression. I'm sorry, everyone. This brat is my son. He's young and doesn't know how to measure his words or actions. Please don't hold it against him. Mr. Wren, look, This is all just a misunderstanding. They're all classmates. You know how it is with young people, hot-headed, so a little friction is normal. Tonight, I'll host a dinner and make sure to apologize to everyone properly." Seeing that Mr. Wren wasn't saying anything, Mr. Jean slapped James on the back of the head again. Even harder. "Unfilial son, what are you standing around for? Go apologize now." Perhaps the two slaps made James feel humiliated. He suddenly lost control and shouted at Mr. Jean, "Why should I apologize? What's Romeo to me that I should apologize to him? He's just a useless, freeloading loser. He's using his wife to flaunt his power. Just a poor guy pretending to be important. What gives him the right to make me apologize? I came here to donate to the lab today." Ask Romeo. Does he even know how much a lab's equipment costs? Has he ever seen that much money? As soon as he said this, the hall fell silent. Mr. Wren's face darkened, his expression so grim it seemed as though ink would drip from it. The classmates exchanged glances, some of them seeming to agree with James. A few of the more arrogant male students even whispered among themselves, "Actually, James isn't completely wrong. Isn't Romeo just living off his wife? What's so impressive about that? If it were me, I could do it too." Mr. Wren glared coldly at James, his voice as icy as a winter storm. "Living off someone? Huh? Young Mr. Jean, if you didn't spend all your time indulging in luxury, and actually cared about the development of our city, you wouldn't be saying such heartless things. Romeo is the youngest special envoy in the entire capital, even the entire country. His policies have repeatedly pushed forward economic growth and urban development. Ask your father, if it weren't for Romeo's proposal, would your company even have gotten any official investment? This time, if Romeo hadn't repeatedly told me that our city had great potential and that many young enterprises needed help, do you think we would have come here?" Hearing Mr. Wren's words, James stiffened and stood there, unable to speak. Mr. Wren didn't even look at the classmates anymore, instead turning to the principal standing nearby. You've been told time and time again about quality education, yet look at these students, full of the stink of money, graduates from a top university, who have been in society for so many years, but instead of thinking about how to contribute, they're busy stepping on others to climb up. You should reflect on yourself too." After speaking, Mr. Wren turned to leave the hall. Mr. Jean hurriedly stepped forward, trying to block his path. "Mr. Wren, these are just kids fooling around. My son made a mistake. I'll educate him properly when we get home. Please don't be angry. The donation ceremony hasn't even started yet." "Mr. Wren, you can't leave now." Mr. Wren waved his hand, and the security guards immediately moved to pull Mr. Jean away. I gave Mr. Jean and James a casual glance. "Postpone the donation ceremony for now. You should really focus on resolving your company's tax issues before anything else. Otherwise, that position as the richest man in town might not stay warm for long." Just as we were about to leave the hall, Luciana called out from behind me, "Romeo." Chapter 7. Alice was a little upset. She furrowed her brows and punched me lightly, but she still helped the old man leave first, giving Luciana and me some space. Luciana's eyes were filled with unwillingness as she stared at me. "Why did you become a special envoy? Last life, you were just an ordinary civil servant." The secret of having lived two lives was known only to her and me, so hearing her say this wasn't surprising. But as I looked at Luciana before me, only a sense of desolation remained in my heart. "I'm not like you. After being reborn, I relied on my own experience to shine in my position. Everything I've achieved today is what I deserve. But you, even if given another chance, would still choose to be someone's canary in a gilded cage, always unable to stand on your own." Luciana's eyes reddened, filled not only with anger but also a trace of grievance. "And her? Do you really think she loves you? She's just interested in you because you're young and already in a high position. If you had been this successful in your past life, I would never have left you." As I listened to Luciana, my mind drifted back to the time when I first came to the capital. Back then, although I had just been transferred, with no connections or backing, I had to start from the bottom. My proposals and suggestions were repeatedly rejected, but it was during this time that I met Alice. Alice supported my proposals and helped mediate with all the different parties. Even when my proposals were rejected, she would stand in front of me and say word by word, "Whether it passes or not, your faith and ideals move me, because I believe in the same way." We both believed that a person's will could overcome fate, and though individual power might be small, societal progress always needed people like us. At this thought, I shook my head at Luciana. "No, she's not like you. She doesn't care about the extra conditions around me. She cares about the passion in my heart. In my past life, I was the same. Although I was just a small civil servant, I shone in my position, contributing to social progress. But you couldn't see that. You were blinded by the material world, only able to see wealth and money." Upon hearing my words, tears streamed down Luciana's face, falling in large drops. "But you once said you only liked me and would only marry me as your wife." I froze. I had indeed said that in my past life, Although I wasn't Luciana's first love, she was mine. When we were in love, I would have moved the stars from the sky just to make her happy. I sighed deeply. Let the past life stay in the past. Didn't we both agree when we were reborn? You pursue the life you want, and I'll walk my own path. Besides, our ending in the last life wasn't good. You cheated first, and you weren't happy in this marriage. What's the point in talking about it now? After I said this, I looked toward Alice, who was waiting for me from a distance. My wife is waiting for me. Excuse me. I turned to leave, but Luciana's choked voice rang out again. Romeo, do you still love me? I didn't turn around, my eyes only on Alice's figure. In my past life, I truly loved you, but in this life, I only love my wife. I thought that would be the end of our two lives intersecting. But 3 days later, Gene Group was exposed for severe tax issues, along with intellectual property violations and other related illegal activities. With multiple charges, the Gene Group had no choice but to announce a temporary halt to its operations, and the responsible individuals were taken by the relevant authorities for investigation. Mr. Wren was furious when he heard the news. Damned. Absolutely damned. These people enjoy the benefits of society but refuse to contribute. They are nothing but parasites on economic development. A stumbling block. Chapter 8, Epilogue. I gently patted the old man's back to help him calm down. Don't let these shady companies get you upset. We still have many legitimate businesses contributing positively to society. Alice, however, was fuming. It looks like Gene Group is going bankrupt. Your rich ex might come back to find you, right? I chuckled and pinched her cheek. She's not my ex. We were never together. In the next month, we stayed in the city, as our purpose for coming back was to promote its development. Now that Gene Group was in trouble, we had to continue assessing other businesses. A few days later, an unfamiliar number called me. Romeo, have you seen the news about Gene Group? I was the one who reported them, and I submitted the evidence. I frowned. Although I wasn't sure why she was telling me this, I replied politely. Paying taxes is the duty of every citizen. Miss Luciana, thank you for your report. Just as I was about to hang up, Luciana interrupted me in a hurry. Romeo, I'm getting a divorce from James. I immediately cut her off. Your marital issues are none of my business, and I don't need to be informed. If there's nothing else, goodbye. I didn't know who had leaked my number, but after that call from Luciana, many of my old university classmates began calling to reconnect. Romeo, you and Ms. Chu are a perfect match, a golden couple. You're too low-key. Romeo, with such a successful career, you didn't even tell us. Just quietly contributing. We can't match this level of vision. You haven't returned to the capital yet, right? When are we getting together again? You should bring Ms. Chu along. You didn't even invite us to your wedding, but this time, you can't refuse. Even Luciana started calling, acting like nothing had happened. I blocked one number, and she switched to another. Her persistence was truly impressive. Eventually, I just set up my phone to block calls from unknown numbers. After all, in this new life, I had a happy marriage, a complete family, and a successful career. I didn't want to be disturbed by Luciana anymore, but I had underestimated her shamelessness. Phone calls turned into text message harassment. Romeo, can we meet? I really have a lot to say to you. I know I was wrong. What James and I had was never love. The only person I've truly loved in both lives is you. Please, Romeo, give me another chance. I don't want to miss out on you again. Looking at these messages, I sneered coldly. 2 whole lifetimes. How could I not understand Luciana? The one she loved wasn't me, nor was it James. She loved fame, wealth, the life of the privileged. Whoever could give her those conditions, she would love them. The text message harassment stopped completely once I changed my number. A month later, we were preparing to return to the capital. Just as we were leaving the hotel, a figure was loitering outside. It was Luciana. The moment she saw me, she hurried over, her eyes full of hope. Romeo, I've divorced James. I'm back. I stepped back slightly, holding Alice, and coldly uttered 2 words. Have some self-respect. She didn't seem to care that Alice was still by my side. She stubbornly spoke again. Didn't we once love each other so deeply? Don't you remember all those days we spent together, walking hand in hand? I took Alice's hand and looked at Luciana with an icy expression. Not a trace of warmth in my eyes. You know as well as I do, that was the past, not the present. I don't deny everything we went through. It happened, but I, Romeo, am not someone who clings to the past. I only look to the future, and the one who will walk into that future with me will never be you. Having said that, I ignored Luciana and led Alice to the car. My future was long, but that didn't mean I should waste time on people who didn't matter. I knew what I needed to cherish now, and it would never be Luciana. 1 life met, 1 life lost. 2 lives met, 2 lives separated. Luciana and I were never meant to be together.